Okay, guys, how's it going? Good? Sorry about that. Anyways, when I first connected my computer, I thought it was my computer making the noise, so I'm glad it wasn't. My name is Matias. I'm with Experimental, which is a blockchain gaming company, a blockchain gaming studio. And I'm gonna try to explain you what and how it was to build a blockchain game. We built Crypto Wars for the last year. It was a huge challenge, both technically and marketing-wise. So I'm gonna just go for it. This title was basically because we literally self-funded the operations of Crypto Wars for the last year, and we finally got to a product that users love and are actually using, which is weird, in the crypto space, at least for now. This is just a small, a really small intro about myself. I have the typical entrepreneurial life or bio. I drop off of college. I just founded a tech company when I was like 20 or something like this. Then I sold it to a European competitor. Then I went and started working for a VC. I deployed a couple million euros in several tech startups. And I finally got into the blockchain space, and here we are now. So this is just, for you to know why, what's my background. And this is a bit the timeline of the last year. That's been, super crazy for all of us. I think in every vertical of blockchain. We had a bullish market, then we had this shitty bearish market, and it changes a lot, even if you don't want it, and you're behind the tech, and you don't care about the price and all this stuff. It's a huge difference between last year and this year. But I'm gonna go step by step. I'm gonna show you this slide, a couple times, many times probably, so you understand how the journey has been. Let's start in the beginning. Yeah, okay, so 1 year ago we had this idea. We said, okay, blockchain gaming could be super cool if done the right way, but there were many technical issues. So it was, at that point, just basically a dream. The dream would look like, at least our dream would look like a strategy game, which is completely skill-based, so there is no randomness. It's not betting, it's not gambling, it's nothing like that. It's skill-based, so your decisions will determine your outcome. Basically, the idea is that the users own their assets, so they can make money out of the game. They could potentially live out of of their gaming experiences. And eventually, if the developers, if us, we do a wrong, we do whatever, like we take bad decisions or we don't do our jobs faithfully, they could just fork the fuck out of our game and do, a new game using our code, and that would be amazing if that happened, not for us, but for the community. And they could, they can potentially do mods and do whatever the fuck they want. That would, this was basically the dream. But it had many problems, one of them being scale. There was no way to scale a game like this. A year ago, L2, like layer 2 solutions were non-existent, like there was nothing. Then there was no support for mobile, and how do you do a game if you can do mobile? It's like, in China, it's like 90% of the market or something like this. So it was a problem as well. Transactions were super expensive. Gas cost is, it's impossible to play a game where you have to pay, gas for every transaction. And then you have to sign every single one of the transactions, so the UX was a nightmare as well. Again, this was only a year ago, so things go fast. Even though we had all these problems, we decided to blindly, start coding, to blindly start writing lines of code. I know this is a shitty movie, by the way. Yeah, but it was a good example. And we decided to go for it. We decided to self-fund it. We just made a decent amount of money selling our last company, so we decided like, okay, why not? Okay, and this was around here, right? Then the bull market came. The bull market came, and an American VC fund. This is like for you to understand how early the market is. This was the only thing we had, a landing page. that said, okay, we make we make amazing blockchain games. We had a few drawings here, whatever, but we had nothing, literally not even one line of code, right? And this American VC came and said like, oh yeah, I trust you guys, I'm gonna give you $2 million. We said no to that. We thought it was, I don't know, like not decent or something. Anyway, so I'm gonna fast forward a full year where we worked our asses off every single day, and the bear market came, and we said, okay, I think it's been enough time and enough risk of our own. We invested, I would say in this year, my partner Luciano and myself, we invested about like $150,000 or something, making the game and everything. And a year of our time, that at that time, I was making a really decent salary in the VC firm, and Lucho, my partner, was making a super good salary as a CTO in another company. So it was a lot of risk. We decided it was time to raise some money, and we decided what we needed was $500,000, and we went for it. We just closed this, like literally today or yesterday, but we really struggled to do it, and we struggled to do it having the first fully decentralized strategy game on the world. Like we literally built that. It was a working product, an amazing team that we can show that, it's 10 people that work every single day full time, all like really good engineers, marketing people, illustrators, designers, whatever. And the most important thing, the validation of a few thousand, actually not 100 users, which is the most important thing. Even though we had all this, we struggled to raise $500,000. When you see people, that they raised like 100 million with nothing, this is what a bear market looks like. Anyway, so this is the lesson: always, always raise money when you don't need it. Coming back to this, now we would be here, right? I'm gonna tell you a bit about the market itself, the market situation right now, and then I'm gonna go to the, to the happy part where we have users and the game works and everything. So the blockchain gaming industry today. This was last year, I think, in this same room, or maybe one of the others, who knows, but same conference at least. And we were talking about scalability all the time. It was the whole conference, everyone talking about scalability. I think scalability is still an issue, but I think 2019 is going to be the usability year. There are many things we need to fix on that side. And so here, it's basically a comparison between the last year problems and today's problems. Gas costs, the throughput of the network, transaction signing, desktop only. Most of the things were solved using sidechains and delegated proof of stake. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this, but I'm not going to get into this because it's going to take me forever. And then, last year it was only desktop. There was no way to run a game on mobile. And then, Trust Wallet came out. Trust Wallet, you can basically browse, any websites on the Ethereum network with no problem. And then Loom and all these layer 2 solutions that are delegated proof of stake came out as well. And now you can basically play a game in any browser. It doesn't need to be a Web3 browser, any kind of browser. So right now you can play our game Crypto Wars in literally any browser on mobile. But these are the problems I think we have to solve if we want random people, the average Joe to join our games. Basically, you should be able to buy like a couple dollars of ETH without making it a nightmare and a week and everything. Then how do I hold my ETH safely and not get hacked and all this stuff? Recover the keys, everyone's talking about that, and then interact with the network, which is also a problem. MetaMask and all these things are not really UX friendly, user friendly. As I said, scale is not quite solved, but I think we're getting there. We all know that layer 2 is one of the solutions. There is proof of concept. We saw it work. There is, as I told you, delegated proof of stake. There is proof of authority networks. There are many things that have shown potential, right? And this is just one of, when we just launched the tournament, this is what happened. So every time we had like 500 transactions at the same time, the network would go down, and then 500 transactions at the same time, the network would go down. But even having 500 transactions it's definitely a level up, to say it in a way. But it's funny how at the same point the whole network would go to shit. Just for you to have a scale of how small this industry is nowadays, we only have 20,000 active users monthly, which is nothing. It's literally shit. Last year we had 126,000 users in the whole year. So again, the industry is really, really, really small at this point. This data was provided by the Brader. Anyway, so this is the same claim we made last year. We think blockchain gaming will bring massive adoption of cryptocurrencies, of blockchain technologies, and all this stuff, because the rationale makes a lot of sense, right? The fact that you can own and truly own your digital assets makes a lot of sense for the users, for the developers, and for everyone else. The fact that you can, that the assets are interoperable. This means you can play, I don't know, CryptoKitties, and they play Crypto Wars and use your cat from CryptoKitties in Crypto Wars, or some weird thing like this. The idea is that you can, use your assets in every single game. Then it's, it's liquid. It's a liquid market. You can make money out of your gaming experience. You can sell your assets. It's super interesting. And then we always talk about safety and fairness, just because it's an open, public database. Yeah. So basically, you can check whatever is going on. Developers can't do unfaithful stuff, basically. Anyway, so if we say all this stuff is going on, why is it still such a small market, right? And this is just like a small thing. I love DAI, I love Maker, I love the whole thing, but I think it's not the killer app. Like I don't see my mother, my sister, or any of my friends who are crazy about soccer, for example, saying, "Oh, I'm gonna buy a stable coin. This sounds fun. I'm gonna learn how to, do wallets and all this stuff to buy a stable coin." I think this is great for people who already know about cryptocurrencies, and then they have a solid way to keep their value, safe. But I don't think it's going to drive new people into the community. Anyway, so coming back, why is it such a small market if we have all these benefits, right? And it's really simple. It's a chicken and egg problem. If there are no users, and we don't have users now, there are no games. Because why a big company? Why would any big company invest money on a blockchain game if there is no market, right? When they already have market for mobile, they have market for consoles. So why would they do that? And then if users don't have games, why would they start, learning about blockchain and stuff? So it's no users, no game, no game, no users, no users, no infrastructure, no infrastructure, no games, and it's, basically an eternal loop there. But this should be easy to solve, right? There are many companies getting into space, such as we did. We did it completely blindly. We invested our money, we took the risk, and it's working out. More companies are doing so. Ubisoft, I think they have like 14,000 employees, and they just announced they're going to do a blockchain game, and they have a blockchain team, and they're hosting blockchain events. So it's already happening. I'm not sure if you are familiar with these two VC funds, but these are like the biggest funds in America, Andreessen Horowitz and Union Square Ventures. Both just invested on a blockchain gaming company, which is amazing news because these guys, are the guys who invest in the Facebooks and the Twitters of the world. So if they invest in this technology, it's because they really believe it might work in a massive way, not just like in a small community way. And then Tencent, I don't know if you have ever been to China, but Tencent is like this mega corporation that controls basically everything. And they're doing blockchain games, right? This is just like, I've been to China. I stayed in China for a month, a couple months ago, and it was, China is usually as if you could have a crystal ball and look at the future. In this case, China is also that. I've been there, and I was telling everyone that we had, I don't know, like 3,000 users or something like this, and Chinese people were like, eh. Like they literally have blockchain games with millions of users. The only thing is, the political situation in China is complicated. I mean, the political, social, economic, and every other situation you can think of is really complicated in China. So all the blockchains are private, and if you have a private blockchain, just have a database, which is the same thing. But I think in the West we could potentially reproduce whatever they did, to get to this point, but with open blockchains such as Ethereum, open and decentralized and the whole thing. But it's a nice proof that it could actually work. Anyways, so coming back to the timeline, to the past, it's our last company, the one we sold. To the future, millions of users, just like in China, but open and public. We say we don't like how it works in China. How is it supposed to be in the West or in the whole world or whatever? This is our vision for crypto gaming. We created Crypto Wars, which is a strategy game. As I said, it's the first one to be fully decentralized. It fully runs on smart contracts. And if you want it, it's something similar to Clash of Clans in the sense that you have to build a village, you have to build buildings, you have to mine, your resources, summon an army, and go attack your opponents. This is Crypto Wars. This is just for you to have an idea how it looks like. I know it looks nothing like Clash of Clans. I don't know if you tried it, but how many of you knew about Crypto Wars before this? Okay, that's cool. Anyway, so it looks like this. It's a much more transactional game. Being fully running on the blockchain means that you can't move your character to the right, move your character to the left. You have to be really thoughtful on what kind of transactions and actions the users can make. So this is why it looks like this, much more transactional. This is your dashboard. This is where you create and upgrade all your buildings. As you see, well, you can upgrade to level 5 here, and everything will run from there. This is something pretty cool we launched a couple of months ago. It's just the same business model than Fortnite, to say it in a way. We sell skins that are just aesthetic, like they don't modify your game experience. They just make you look good or better. And people went crazy about this. Some of the bows and the swords and this kind of stuff sold for like $1,000 or $1,500, stuff like that. Anyways, so this is what we launched. Yeah, I think we launched it like a couple of months ago. There is a free one if you want. Go check it out. It's marketplace.e11.io. Yep. Well, these are all obviously NFTs, right? Non-fungible tokens, 721. This is a bit of how Crypto Wars ended up working out. 50% of the people who played Crypto Wars in the first tournament spent more than 10 hours a day for 7 days straight. Like, we literally had people that didn't go to work, and then when they lost the tournament, they were like, dude, but I didn't go to work, I need the money. And I was like, okay, that was your shitty decision, not mine. We had over 450,000 transactions in a single week, which was great for a first test of a blockchain game. Sorry, I saw a couple of you taking pictures. Go ahead. And this is what happened. I showed you this graph before. Now I'm going to explain it a bit. We're running on a thing called Loom Network. Loom has an amazing team. I think there are like 80 people, and they're basically trying to solve scalability problems, right? With layer 2 solutions, with side chains. Basically, you have the mainnet, which is the main blockchain, and you have a side chain, which is much faster and doesn't need sign in for every single transaction, and gas costs are lower, yada yada. But still, even though they're doing an amazing work, an amazing job, things are not great. And our tournaments, we hosted 2 tournaments, one like a month ago. The second one ended yesterday, and both had, I don't know, like a lot of lag. Like, it was super laggy. It was super, like the network got clogged every single time. So the blocks would pass really slowly. A single block is supposed to, to pass in like 5 seconds. and some took like 10 minutes. So it was really hard to play at some point. But it also, like in some other points, it ran really well. But anyways, we had this kind of downtime like 2, 3, 4 times a day, which is not good. But it's again, these guys are in alpha. We are in alpha. We were the first game to deploy in the Loom network, so everything is pretty new, pretty innovative, and I think this is the right approach. So it's gonna take time, but at some point we're gonna have stable blockchain games with thousands of users. Well, this slide was obviously made by a tech person, right? Not like the others. But yeah, I'm not gonna read this. I'm not gonna try to explain this. But basically what Lucho, who is my CTO, is saying here is it's really hard to build this. It was a crazy challenge that we are still trying to to solve or to pass by. But yeah, I mean the main problem here is you have to support like hundreds of thousands of transactions in real time, and every time the network goes down or whatever happens, you have to try to fix, backward, like to look back and fix all these transactions that had problems. All this has to be done in our back end and then show it in the front. It's really like a big challenge. I'm gonna upload this presentation, so if you want to read this in detail, you can do it. Okay, so as we had so many problems with Ethereum and with Loom and with everything, a lot of new players started appearing, right? You probably heard of Tron, you probably heard of EOS, Neo, and 1,000 more that just appeared out of the blue. We said no to every single one of them. Some of them were offering like $100,000, $200,000 just for us to port the game into their network. That's how they do stuff. They pay developers to to switch to their network, and if you don't really believe in the in the technology, it's an obvious thing that you would change, right? Because why not? You're offering me money, you tell me it works better than Ethereum, why wouldn't I do it? Well, this is our explanation to that. We wanted to build a blockchain game, and a blockchain game is supposed to be decentralized, it's supposed to be open, and all the the characteristics we like to see in a blockchain game. So this was like a good metaphor that that I came up with. Basically, you're trying to build an electric car, right? And the electric car would be the decentralized and open game on the blockchain. And then you say, oh, electric cars, have like really low autonomy. It's gonna go for, I don't know, 200 kilometers, and that's gonna be it. And then you say, oh, I can solve this problem with gas. I'm gonna throw gas into the car. Okay, well, that's not an electric car anymore. And that's exactly what EOS, Tron, and all these networks are doing. They're basically, sacrificing decentralization for speed. And that's what that database is, right? Like SQL or any of this. So yeah, we're not gonna do that. And this is the end of it. The idea is we're gonna host a Crypto Wars tournament that is starting in about 1 hour. It's gonna start. We're gonna have Ether prizes. The prize for the winner is gonna be 2 ETH. And this tournament is sponsored by the guys at Stake Capital, who are who are right there. They're one of the nodes of the validator nodes in Loom, in the Loom network. So thank you guys, and make sure to subscribe there. It's gonna be a 3-day-long tournament, and whoever comes in the top 3 positions is gonna win ETH, right? So make sure to do that. If you want the presentation, I think the best way is just shoot me an email, and I'm gonna shoot you back the presentation. If you want to join our Telegram group, that was, there are discussions every day there, pretty interesting stuff, and also like game fans and this kind of thing. Make sure to join, and that was it, guys. Thank you. If you have any questions, I can. Do we have time for questions or?
Hi. Have you thought of using more, innovative business models, like something more on the economy part? Or?
The business model part of this?
Yeah, no, I know the one that you have, but have you thought about?
Yeah, so the idea is to have 3 or 4 different revenue streams. One is the skins I showed. The second one is basically to be able, so we don't want these games to be, to be pay-to-win games. We don't want that. We want them to be free to play and definitely not pay to win. So the idea is that you can stake crypto into your village for small boosts, and then you can, you can gain whatever, more attack, more defense, whatever. But that also makes you a better target, right? Because you have crypto that people can steal. So in that way, we would take a commission of all these boosts, and that's one of the revenue streams. And the last revenue stream is basically taking a commission on the exchange part of this. Users will be able to have like P2P resource exchange, and that's one of the other business models. For now, it's only skins. We're just thinking, for the future.
Thanks.
Anyone else? No. Okay, cool. Thank you.